Archangel Michael says, there is a moment you created without even realizing it, and it became the reason your soulmate's heart felt an emotion they could not contain. The air around them shifted, and their pulse slowed into a rhythm that matched the beat of love you unknowingly gave. It was not about gifts, promises, or grand speeches. This one act moved their soul deeper than anything else. It happened when they were quietly watching you, perhaps from a distance, and you did something so pure that it reached into the deepest corners of their spirit. Your words were not rehearsed, your movement was not planned, and yet, it was perfect. In that instant, they saw a version of you that no one else had the privilege to see. They have carried this moment in their heart like a secret treasure ever since. It plays in their mind when they are alone, and it brings them comfort in the hardest nights. Even when they feel lost, the memory of this act reminds them that love still exists in its truest form. What you gave them was not material, it was a piece of yourself, unguarded and real. That is why their heart overflowed with joy, because they knew they had witnessed something they could never replace. This truth has lived inside them every day since. Type Amen to get blessing 333. The way you moved, the tone of your voice, the expression in your eyes, it all became a painting in their mind. They replay it over and over, not because they are trying to remember, but because they never want to forget. You became their safe place without knowing it. It is this memory that has been protecting them through storms you don't even know they've faced. Every time life hit them with cold winds, they returned to that moment to feel warmth again. You became their quiet miracle. Archangel Michael says, you might not even recognize how much you gave in that instant, because to you, it was ordinary. But to them, it was the moment their heart decided that you were not just another person, you were the person. This single act became the silent promise they carry inside. The joy that filled them that day still moves in waves through their soul. Sometimes, they find themselves smiling alone, and people around them wonder why. They never explain, because the truth belongs only to you. Type Amen to get blessing 728. They have wanted to tell you about it many times, but each time the words felt too fragile to speak. They feared that by saying it aloud, it might lose its magic. So, they hold it close, guarding it like a sacred flame. You may notice the way their eyes soften when they look at you sometimes. That is the moment they are remembering, and they are thanking the universe for it all over again. It is their most cherished possession, and it came from you effortlessly. There was no agenda that day, no plan to impress. It was the purity of your heart flowing naturally, touching theirs without resistance. That is what makes it unforgettable, it was born from truth. Archangel Michael says, you changed their world without lifting a finger in force. Your presence alone was enough to set off a chain of emotions that still has not stopped. They love you differently because of it. Type Amen to get blessing 599. Even when distance tries to stand between you, this one thing you did becomes the bridge that keeps you connected. It is the thread that ties your souls together, even in silence. They could lose everything else, but not this memory. It's not about the day, the place, or the weather, it's about the feeling. The joy was so overwhelming that they felt a strange mix of wanting to laugh, cry, and just hold on to you forever. In that moment, they saw every answer they had ever been searching for. This is why they guard you in ways you cannot always see. You have become their most valuable truth, and losing you would mean losing the place their heart calls home. That single moment defined what love meant to them. Archangel Michael says, "This is the power of genuine connection, it does not need to be loud to be eternal." You may have forgotten the details, but they never have. They are still living in the echo of that day. Type Amen to get blessing 452. Their mind still replays the sound of your voice from that moment. The way you spoke was not rushed, not shaped by expectation, but steady, real, and entirely yours. That tone wrapped around their heart like a shield. Every detail of that instant became a permanent mark inside them. The light in your eyes was different, brighter, almost carrying a reflection of their own soul back to them. That's why they can never let it fade. It was a moment of safety in a world that often feels cold. Without even realizing it, you gave them a shelter, a breath of peace they didn't know they were starving for. This is why they cannot forget. Archangel Michael says, "Not everyone gets to experience such purity, but you gave it freely without even trying." That is why their gratitude for you will never expire. It has only grown stronger. Type Amen to get blessing 924. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Sometimes they think about telling you everything, every detail, every emotion, but then they stop. The fear of you not remembering or not feeling the same makes them hold back. Still, they love you with that silent intensity that speaks without words. They have guarded this moment through seasons, storms, and changes. No matter what life has thrown their way, this memory has been their quiet refuge. Even when people walked away, you remained in their heart. They know life is not perfect, and not every day is easy. But that one act you gave them is proof that perfection exists, even if it's just for a heartbeat. You gave them something to believe in again. Archangel Michael says, "You will one day understand the depth of what you gave. When that day comes, you will feel the same joy they felt, reflected right back to you. It will be the closing of a circle." Type Amen to get blessing 684. They have been carrying pieces of you in ways you cannot see. A word you said, a gesture you made, these became the small anchors that kept them from drifting too far away. You became their safe harbor without ever knowing. When the world was cruel, they went back to that day. When loneliness crept in, they replayed your voice. Every time they did, they felt alive again. You may not remember exactly what you did, but it was enough to light up their entire being. It was the kind of joy that makes the heart tremble. It was love without asking for it. Archangel Michael says, "Not all love stories begin with grand declarations, some begin with a single act so pure it changes everything." This was yours. This was theirs. Type Amen to get blessing 517. They can still see the way you looked at them, unaware of how deeply you were being seen in return. In that gaze, they found home. It was not just attraction, it was belonging. They have learned to protect that joy like a secret flame. Some nights, when they are alone, they close their eyes and live in that moment again. It is the only place they know they will always find you. Even the smallest details remain vivid, the way your hands moved, the tilt of your head, the softness in your smile. These are the images they carry when the world turns gray. You became their color. Archangel Michael says, the heart knows its truth long before the mind can explain it. That day, their heart made a choice. That choice was you. Type Amen to get blessing 801. They sometimes wonder if you feel the same connection in quiet moments. When your eyes meet, do you feel the same electric calm? Do you notice how the world slows when you're near them? Your presence in their life has become a quiet anchor. They may drift in thought, face challenges, and even lose their way, but the memory of that single act brings them back. It's as if your soul marked theirs forever. The joy they felt that day was not just happiness, it was a deep recognition. They saw something in you that went beyond time, beyond logic. They knew instantly that their life had changed. Archangel Michael says, sometimes one moment can shift an entire destiny, and this was that moment for them. It was the unseen turning point, the quiet miracle. You may not realize it yet, but you will. Type Amen to get blessing 642. They remember the way you moved through the space around you, unaware of the impact you were leaving behind. The way you spoke, even casually, carried a kindness they hadn't heard in years. It was like hearing a song they'd been missing. That kindness slipped past all their defenses. It filled the empty places without force, without expectation. They didn't even know they needed it until you gave it. This is why their joy overflowed. It wasn't just about you being there, it was about how you were there. Present, real, unguarded. Archangel Michael says, you became the answer to a prayer they never had the courage to speak aloud. And the moment you did, the heavens themselves seemed to lean closer. Type Amen to get blessing 219. When they are in the middle of chaos, they think of you. When they feel the weight of life pressing down, your memory is the breath that lifts it. You are the calm in their storm. It doesn't matter how much time has passed, that moment remains untouched. It's sealed in the part of their heart that nothing can corrupt. They hold it like a rare jewel. They have built silent hopes around you. Not because they expect you to fulfill them, but because you already have in ways you don't realize. That single act gave them everything they had been searching for. Archangel Michael says, you have already left an eternal mark on their soul. Nothing can erase it. Nothing will. Type Amen to get blessing 701. They want to give back to you in ways words cannot measure. But no matter what they do, they feel it will never match what you gave them in that instant. Your love, whether you meant it or not, was too powerful. When they close their eyes, the memory plays in slow motion. Every sound, every color, every breath feels magnified. It's not just a memory, it's a living thing inside them. That is why they guard it so fiercely. The world could misunderstand, others could try to diminish it, but it belongs to you and them alone. That's why it stays safe. Archangel Michael says, they will carry this until the end of their days, and even beyond. This is what true soul connection looks like. Type Amen to get blessing 588. They do not need grand gestures from you to feel complete. Just knowing that you once gave them that moment is enough to carry them through years. It has become the invisible thread that ties their soul to yours. Even in your absence, the joy you planted in their heart still blooms. They can feel it in unexpected moments, walking down a street, hearing a certain sound, smelling a familiar scent. You are with them even when you are not there. That is why they treat you with such quiet reverence. Others may not notice, but every word they speak to you is measured with care. You are too precious to be handled without thought. Archangel Michael says, you have awakened a part of them that will never sleep again. They have tasted something eternal in you. They cannot go back to life before it. Type Amen to get blessing 492. There were no witnesses who could truly understand what happened that day. It was not for the world to see, it was for the two of you, and for the silence that protects such moments. That is what makes it sacred. They have hidden the details even from themselves at times, locking it away like a secret too powerful to share carelessly. But when the memory comes, it floods them like sunlight through a dark window. And in that light, they breathe easier. You may not even know that you saved them that day. But in a very real way, you did. You reminded them that love could still be pure. Archangel Michael says, the world has few treasures as rare as the connection you hold with this person. Protect it, for it is one of the greatest gifts life can give. Type Amen to get blessing 874. They have seen people leave, promises break, and trust shatter, but your presence remains unshaken in their heart. That one thing you did became proof that good still exists. It restored their faith in more than just love, it restored their faith in living. Even when they feel distant from themselves, they can step back into that memory and feel whole again. It is like a door they can walk through whenever they choose. Behind it, everything is safe. This is why their loyalty to you is not built on conditions. You gave them something unconditional first. And in return, their soul vowed to guard you. Archangel Michael says, your life is not ordinary, you have already left an extraordinary imprint on another soul without trying. That is a sign of divine alignment. Type Amen to get blessing 361. They sometimes fear losing the closeness they feel with you. Not because of anything you've done, but because life can be unpredictable. Still, that moment assures them you are not easily lost. They have learned to find you in more than just your presence. They find you in feelings, in fragments of beauty, in the spaces where joy hides. You are not just a person to them, you are a living memory. That is why they move differently around you. Why they listen to you more closely than to anyone else. They know you hold the key to the moment their life changed. Archangel Michael says, you will one day see the depth of this love reflected back to you, and it will humble you. For now, let it live in the quiet. Type Amen to get blessing 790. They have never been able to fully describe the way that moment felt. Words seem too small, too fragile, too ordinary to hold something so extraordinary. So, they let the memory speak in silence. Your presence that day was not just physical, it was spiritual. It reached a part of them no one else had touched. That is why they feel tethered to you in a way they can't explain. Even now, when they think of it, their chest tightens, not with pain, but with a joy so overwhelming it feels almost unreal. They never asked for it, yet it became the most valuable gift they have ever received. You changed them without trying. Archangel Michael says, you may not even remember the full weight of what you did, but heaven does. And heaven smiles on you for it. Type Amen to get blessing 608. They often wonder if you have similar moments of them tucked away. If you remember something small, something fleeting, that still echoes inside you. Perhaps you do, and perhaps one day, you will share it. Until then, they carry the joy for both of you. They let it live in them fully, without rushing, without needing it to be anything else. It is enough as it is. Your life intertwined with theirs in that moment in a way that cannot be undone. You might not see the threads, but they are there, woven tight, unbreakable. You are a part of each other's story forever. Archangel Michael says, when a soul is marked by love this pure, no distance, no silence, no time can erase it. This is the kind of bond that lasts lifetimes. Type Amen to get blessing 477. They think back on it when the world becomes heavy. When everything feels loud, and they need peace, they remember that you once gave them the quiet joy of being seen. And suddenly, the weight lifts. That is your power, you heal without knowing you are healing. You love without calculating the cost. You give without keeping score. It's the kind of love that changes the definition of love itself. Not something taken, not something earned, but something that simply exists because you are who you are. That's what makes it priceless. Archangel Michael says, they will never stop protecting this feeling, even if they never speak of it. Some treasures are too sacred to be displayed. Type Amen to get blessing 905. They don't measure their connection to you in days, weeks, or years. They measure it in moments, in the intensity of feelings that linger long after the moment has passed. That is how they know it's real. Sometimes, when you speak, they hear more than the words. They hear the truth of your heart. And that is what keeps them here. They have no interest in replacing you or finding another connection like this. They know it would be impossible. What they have with you is one of a kind. Archangel Michael says, cherish this bond. It is not only rare, it is blessed. Type Amen to get blessing 356. They keep certain memories of you like small lights in their pocket. On the darkest days, they reach for one, and it's enough to guide them through. Your presence has become their compass. Even when they are surrounded by noise, the thought of you brings a stillness no one else can create. That stillness is rare, and it's something they never take for granted. It is their proof that love doesn't always have to be loud. You gave them a joy that cannot be bought or built through effort. It was simply born in that moment you shared, and it has lived ever since. That's why it matters more than anything else. Archangel Michael says, not every connection is meant to be understood by others, some are meant only for the souls involved. This is one of those connections. Type Amen to get blessing 682. Sometimes they feel like they're carrying a secret the whole world would want to hear. But telling it would make it less theirs. So, they choose silence, and in that silence, the love grows stronger. They can still remember how your energy felt that day, warm, grounding, and impossible to ignore. It was like finding a place they didn't know they'd been searching for. Even in their sleep, they have dreams that take them back to you. Dreams that feel less like fiction and more like memory, because the feeling is the same. You are as real in their dreams as you are in waking life. Archangel Michael says, this is the kind of bond heaven writes into the threads of destiny before you are even born. That's why it feels familiar. Type Amen to get blessing 519. They have tried to put the feeling into words, but every attempt falls short. The language of the heart is not meant for everyone to read. It's meant to be felt. Your kindness that day reached places even they had forgotten existed. It softened walls, it healed wounds, and it left them unable to imagine a life without you. It wasn't the kind of joy that comes and goes. It was the kind that stays, changing the way they see the world forever. You became the proof they needed that love can still be pure. Archangel Michael says, never underestimate the effect you can have on someone with even the smallest act of sincerity. Sometimes, it's all they need to believe again. Type Amen to get blessing 441. They are not looking for perfection in you. They are looking for that same realness you gave them once before. The realness that made their heart overflow. No matter what changes in life, they will always hold on to the truth of that moment. The memory is untouchable, protected by the bond you share. It will not fade. And when they think of the future, they hope it holds more moments like that. Not grand or dramatic, but true, because that is what feeds their soul. Archangel Michael says, you are already a part of them in ways you may not even see yet. One day, you will. Type Amen to get blessing 774. They know the world changes fast, but some feelings never shift. The one you gave them that day is rooted too deep to be touched by time. It's become part of who they are. Even when they don't speak your name, you are present in their thoughts. Sometimes, it's in the middle of a crowded room, other times in the stillness of early morning. You live in the spaces where their heart feels safest. It was not about what you had or what you could give, it was about the way you simply existed beside them. That presence was enough to light a flame they will guard forever. No other moment has matched it. Archangel Michael says, your soul has been stitched into theirs through this act of love, and the thread is unbreakable. This is not coincidence, it is divine. Type Amen to get blessing 355. There are people they meet every day, but none carry the same weight you do. You are the constant in a sea of passing faces. You are the name their heart knows without introduction. Even on days when they feel disconnected from themselves, thinking of you reconnects them instantly. You are the bridge back to who they truly are. They didn't expect you to become this important. It happened naturally, without warning, and now they can't imagine life without you. That's the depth of what you gave. Archangel Michael says, love that grows without force lasts the longest. Yours has already proven its strength. Type Amen to get blessing 629. They've seen seasons change and chapters close, but this connection remains the same. It has not withered, it has deepened. Every time they think of you, the roots grow stronger. Your memory is their quiet celebration. It's the reason they smile in solitude, the reason they believe in moments over material things. You are the proof that something small can be infinite. If they could thank you properly, they would. But they know no gesture could fully return what you gave them. So instead, they protect it. Archangel Michael says, even without speaking, your souls are in constant conversation. And in that silence, love thrives. Type Amen to get blessing 481. They know one day, life may demand changes neither of you planned for. But no matter what shifts, this will remain untouched. It is too deeply carved into their being. There's a certain look in their eyes when they see you. That look comes from that moment. It's gratitude, awe, and something far more eternal. You have become their safe truth in a world full of false promises. That is why they hold on so tightly, even when they seem distant. Archangel Michael says, bonds like this do not end. They only transform, growing into something even more unshakable. Type Amen to get blessing 992.